That one should really freak out my band. Hopefully it doesn't clash with anything they're already doing. Hey everybody, it's Mike here from The Art of Guitar. If you know my channel, you're probably aware that I play guitar in a Heart tribute band called Heartless. We've been together for about 8 years now. And even though 2 of the band members moved across the country, we still get together a few times a year to have shows. Also, if you know the channel, you know that I'm a huge Nancy Wilson fan. And that's a big reason why I joined the Heart tribute in the first place. But over the years, I ended up just getting some of her memorabilia. Like right here, I ended up getting one of her personal guitars that she owned. And it's an Ovation Elite long neck guitar. And what's weird about it is it's a baritone guitar. So the strings are tuned very low. I don't really get a chance to play this thing very much, but since it's Nancy Wilson's guitar, I pretty much just hang it up and kind of stare at it every day, you know? Another thing I own is one of her shoes that I got at a charity type auction thing. And this weirds people out, I understand. But it's a signed shoe. And I gave the other one to my bass player, Greg, because he's a huge Nancy fan too. But something that I'm really excited about is when I was able to get the VHS copy of her instructional video, which was put out as the Starlicks Session series right here. Now, when I first got this, I thought it was from the 80s era. But it turns out it's from 1999, which is really surprising because it's, first of all, a Starlicks video, and I always think of the hair metal 80s type instructionals when I hear Starlicks, and it's a VHS tape. So I thought this thing has to be from at least like 88 or something, but 99. Isn't that weird? One thing I really love is that what comes with the VHS tape, luckily I do have a VCR so I could watch it, is like a packet. They just give you this packet full of like chord charts and tab and stuff. So you don't have to sit there and only get things off the screen like you have to when you watch YouTube videos. You actually have a booklet, something that you can actually hold on to, which is kind of cool for us old-fashioned people. Now, when I got the VHS tape, it was kind of a collector's thing, but I also knew I was going to watch it eventually and try to get some tips from the video. Since I play in that tribute band, I thought it'd be really cool to really get to the details, because a while ago I did a video with Roger Fisher, the original guitarist for Heart, and he taught me so many details about Barracuda that I never knew, and it really made a huge difference. So I was really hoping that this instructional could give me those type of golden tips, if you will, that can make a difference between something sounding good and something sounding authentically great. For the video, I decided to just use my Fender Acoustasonic guitar, just because now that I put the sticker over the top of the hole, by the way, I did a whole video on it, I'm really loving this guitar. It's really holding up, and when I plug it in direct to either a PA system or to my, recording system, it always sounds pretty good, I would say. But you could be the judge of that, I guess. Now, the instructional starts off with her playing These Dreams, solo acoustic style. It's really cool. It almost feels like you're getting a private performance in your living room. And what's cool about it is she's playing it, first of all, in studio, and then it morphs to her playing it live on stage. I don't know if it was for an audience or if she just went on a sound stage somewhere, but it's really cool to see her going back and forth. And I was really watching her hands because I had to modify it to play that song, one of their most popular songs, These Dreams. We usually capo at the 2nd fret, but I'm just going to ignore that today. Anyway, such a cool chord right there. And then she does all this too. I hadn't seen the video, and I just kind of... So I was really happy to see her actually playing the same way I pretty much play that song. Because if you listen to the original song, the recording of it, there really isn't like an acoustic strumming chords like that. It's a lot of keyboards going on. One thing I realized I've been doing wrong all this time is during the chorus, because it goes from A to E to D. She does a D sus to A sus, and then it's a B, A, E to the D. I never did the B. I used to just go to the D chord, so that was something cool I learned right off the bat. I can't wait to use these tips live and just watch the reaction of my band members. Hopefully they notice. She talks about how the acoustic guitar is perfect for her because she can express herself the best on it. Not only can you play really beautiful, moody type stuff on an acoustic guitar, steel string acoustic, but you can also be really aggressive with it. And if you ever see that video footage, it's a really famous clip of her playing the intro to Crazy on You. You could really see that she doesn't play her guitar in a subtle way. She's very aggressive sometimes, and she knows how to get like almost like a heavy metal type of feel out of those 6 strings. Even if she is playing something acoustic, it has that kind of heavy metal attitude, I really love these old instructionals. It's very nostalgic to see certain things that they don't do anymore. And one thing is that they always have a tuning portion.
and again back to E.
That's because when you're watching analog tape, there was no way to really ensure that your player was going to play it at the exact right speed. So they would always give you like, here's an A, so tune to that. It was still around the time when not everybody had a snark tuner at the end of their guitars. So the tuning portion of this was needed at the time. Another great aspect of this instructional is that it's got this real chill factor to it. Like it's real calm, just the way she teaches. Like I kept thinking, man, if she was my private guitar teacher when I was growing up, I would have played guitar twice as much. I'd want to impress her, basically. But it's great because she has this real teachery quality where she seems very patient. A lot of it is just her voice and just her kind of sense of humor as she's teaching. She'll often giggle at herself.
Finger picking. Have it down. The 4th fret.
And just laugh at things she says, so you can tell she's not taking herself super seriously. Like some other shredders might, you know, back in the 80s, those things could get pretty intense.
I'd go, well, impress me, blow me away. I want to see your best riffs.
And she has her little sayings, you know, she'll say like, oh, this little tricky Joe Bob here. I'm like, and I thought us Minnesotans had our weird little sayings, you know. I felt a little bit vindicated because the beginning of Crazy on You has always been very tricky. And everybody seems to have a different way of explaining it. And people always say, oh, it's all fingers, you know, you're supposed to pick it all with your fingers. Other people say you're supposed to use your pick and your fingers together. And that's actually what Nancy Wilson said. She does sort of a hybrid technique where she's using a pick. And then she says she uses her fingers here. But when she really gets going and she's showing it to you on the video, she does it the way I decided to do it, which is pretty much all pick. She even says, though, that she plays it differently almost every time, so who knows? Maybe it's just depending on the mood. Another thing I realized is that in the song Love Alive, I don't do nearly enough vibrato after watching her do it. So she really knows how to shake those notes. She goes something like this. So I was pretty surprised to see her really wiggling those strings that much. As a teacher, I know how long it takes to really be quick when you're trying to, you know, describe and explain where to put your fingers. So over the years, I've gotten pretty efficient at being able to just say like 2nd string, 5th fret, 4th string, 3rd fret. But you could tell she isn't used to really explaining things on the guitar so much.
From your G string down to the 4th string on the 4th fret.
You know, it's just automatic to her in her head. And now that she has to really break it down, it could be a little bit tricky at first. So I don't know why my hair is doing this weird hook thing today, but feels like it's going to poke my eye the whole time. So it's distracting me. When it comes to naming scales and certain chord names, she just kind of glosses over it a little bit. And one time she actually said something like, this is like a scale type thing.
Sort of a scale thing.
One part that blew my mind that I wasn't playing anything even close to what it is the heavier part in Love Alive when it kicks in. And I thought it was just 3 chords. I thought it was E to like a B minor 7 to A with the open strings with it, back to E. I found out that it's E but played like this. So kind of the Nancy Wilson E, which is basically an E5. So you have E, B, E, B, B, E. After that, she goes from that chord to A to an A7 to a D over A, then back to her E chord before doing the... Oops. I'm going to have to get used to that. That one should really freak out my band. Hopefully it doesn't clash with anything they're already doing. There's a second guitar part during this song that I'm going to have to teach my other guitar player, Carrie, because I go like this. But I guess the second guitar part's pretty cool. It goes like this. There's that little scale thingy. And when you put those two parts together, it sounds pretty magical. Let me do that with post-production really quick. Ready? 3, 4, 1. She does a few subtle things in Mistral Wind, which by the way is a really cool tune. It's one of those deeper cuts. Every time we play it live, people look a little bit confused at first, and then by the end, they're always into it, it seems like. So the beginning's very bizarre, but I never knew she once again did this much vibrato. She goes... It sounds like a chorus pedal with a rate turned all the way up. It's actually a really cool sound. Try it. It's way harder than you might think. And then another cool thing she does is over the F chord, she leaves the high 2 strings open, but then when she strums back up, she lifts up her middle finger, which gives you like a... throws in a G tone. So you get that add 9 sound. And then she also lifts up her pinky. So it's cool because she plays the full chord first, lifts off, and then lifts off again, which creates 3 more sounds. Well, 3 total. What I like is she still has a very childlike wonder when it comes to guitar, you could tell. So she'll play something and genuinely seem excited about it. Like sometimes you get a little bit jaded after you play for so many years and you're just like, yeah, this is just vibrato, whatever. But she'll explain something in a way that makes you visualize it differently. Like she'll say, well, when you do this, it sounds like water. And I thought that's a really perfect way to describe that. And then she broke out the old mandolin. You know, being a huge Zeppelin fan, of course, she actually played a full rendition pretty much of Battle of Evermore. I ended up getting one because we actually do play a couple of mandolin songs in the Heart Tribute Band. So let me plug it in real quick. Okay, isn't this thing cute? It's a little baby ovation. I remember when I first got this, I was so excited because I didn't want like a traditional looking mandolin. I really like the fact that this thing is an ovation shape. And it sounds great, and it pretty much, always stays in tune. It's a very reliable mandolin. We do not play Battle of Evermore. We play Dream of the Archer by heart, so. It's pretty tough to fit my fingers in these frets, but once you're able to, it's kind of not easy, but it really feels familiar because I started on violin. And so G, D, A, E tuning isn't super crazy for me, but some of the chord shapes are really playable if you play guitar and you just kind of equate that to like, oh, that's an E minor shape. Like I mentioned earlier, besides the tips and tricks, I really love that she actually performs like 3 songs on this thing. And she actually plays a song that I've never heard before called The Dragon. And I guess she wrote it for Lane Staley from Alice in Chains. And it's cool because if you listen to it, it actually has sort of an Alice in Chains type quality. Now, unlike the 80s hair metal type instructionals that I grew up with, I did not learn how to, do sweeping arpeggios at 1,000 miles an hour in this video, but I learned some real world applicable techniques. So yes, it's really cool to learn a flashy, awesome technique, and the younger me would just salivate at the thought of learning something really crazy. But when it comes to things that you can actually apply to your overall playing, I really love that kind of stuff nowadays. Even though it seems simple, just taking that F chord and modifying it is something that's really cool to be able to do for a lot of different chords. So if you go to like A, for example, she likes to do this as well. Lift up fingers instead of adding so much. Slide around. So another example of that is she does this dog and butterfly slide. So I never do this when we play it live, but she changes like this. Her chord vibrato is something you could utilize right away. Tony Iommi does something like that. He loves doing that with power chords though, but still. It's like a homemade chorusing effect. She demonstrates a few open tunings that you could do, drop D, and then she does a dadgad type tuning, and she shows you how taking shapes from there and just moving it around can net you a lot of different sounds. And then another thing that she shows you that I think you could utilize right away is filling in some spaces with harmonics. She loves doing natural harmonics. That's why in the beginning Crazy on You, she does all the 12th fret harmonics, 7 and 5. Watching her play kind of makes me want to be a little bit more aggressive when I play acoustic guitar. Coming from a heavy metal background, it feels good to just kind of go to town, All right, the instructional itself is only about an hour long, and she does play 3 full songs in it, so there isn't a ton of time for her to teach you a whole bunch of stuff, but what she does teach is very valuable, like I said. And honestly, if it was just a video of her playing acoustic songs for me, like a private concert, like I said, I probably still would have bought it. I feel like such a fanboy right now. So yeah, that is what I got out of the Nancy Wilson's Starlick Sessions video. All right, everybody, thank you for watching. It was a lot of fun. I am going to be doing a lot more of these instructional reviews. I found some hilarious ones. I found some that are really intense. There's a lot to choose from for me, so I feel like a kid in a candy store right now, but it's going to take a lot of practicing. Some of those shred videos are just next level, so I know I'm going to have to put in the time to do it justice. And I'm looking forward to that because, I get to show you guys something. Hopefully it's going to be entertaining and it's going to make me a better player. So win, win, win. Okay, once again, like I always, thank you for watching, and we'll catch you at the next video. Bye-bye.
So that's my little theory on that. So I hope you had fun watching the video. It was fun hanging out with you for a little while. And good luck.